My name is Sarah McPeg, and I'm a stand-up comedian, improv teacher, and real estate mogul, soon to be. My community is so full of lots of lost souls that are comedians. We are out there spreading joy, spreading laughter. I have a lot of close friends in so many different parts of performance too that I've just really enjoyed building. So I'm connected in the music scene, in the story scene, in the spoken word scene, in the comedy scene. And I love to dabble in all of it. Like, comedy is my vein, but like, I love collaborating. And we have so many amazing people here. So I have this really fun show at Bryant Lake Bowl called Stand Up Smackdown. And it kind of marries both of my loves, which is stand-up and improv. And usually those two worlds don't connect very well. So I have improvisers and stand-ups that get together, and it's kind of like a fun game show style, kind of like Whose Line Is It Anyway? And then I also have this fun storyline through it where I have a roller skating character named Skatelyn. And the audience, like, this show has basically become about Skatelyn. She was just supposed to be like kind of a fun one-off for the first show, and like now everyone is behind Skatelyn. And it's just a really fun, crazy show. It's at 10 o'clock. It's cheap, it's fun, it's over in an hour and a half, and it's such a good time. So it's been like really fun. And then the other thing that I'm so excited about is the Big Fat Comedy Hour is coming back to Lush. And that was my very first show that I ever started, like my big professional show. And the pandemic hit, and it was gone, and then now I'm back. My queer community is very full and very colorful. I have lots of drag queen friends and lots of comedy friends. And you can usually find us either on a stage performing or back behind the facility having cocktails. I just like am kind of everyone's mama hen in the queer community. I have helped a lot of people get started, do a lot of coaching. My dream is to help everyone else achieve their dreams. So I kind of look at myself as a little bit of that mama bear teacher, and I'm always just like trying to cheer everyone on. So a little bit about my story is I married my high school boyfriend. I got pregnant trying to prove I wasn't a lesbian. And after 10 years of marriage, I decided I had to live my truth. My husband unfortunately passed away the summer that I came out. And it was just a few months and Pride had come around. And I was so excited to go to my first Pride. But I had my kids, and their dad had just passed away, and I didn't want to leave them for this fun celebration, right? And so I called my dad, and I was like, hey, it's Pride. Like, I want to go to the parade, but I want to bring the kids. And like, I'm from Minneapolis, but I'd been living in rural Wisconsin, so I'd never seen it, never been a part of it. My dad was like, yeah, it'll be good to like give them something fun to do, and it's okay. And I was like, okay. So I drove me and my kids, they're in middle school, down to Pride, found a place to park. I didn't know anyone. And we got a spot on the sidewalk. And it had been such an emotionally charged month anyway. I remember just feeling so like I had landed and I was okay and what I was doing was okay. So I questioned the guilt of leaving my marriage and throwing my children's life into like this tailspin for something so selfish, I thought. So my first Pride was amazing. I got to celebrate it with my kids. They thought it was pretty fun. I will say when the saloon came down the road and it was all BDSM stuff, they did kind of look away. That first Pride was everything. I knew I was where I was meant to be. These kind of celebrations, like being a part of that and seeing all these other people that were so celebratory and so okay with all of this, and so okay that we're like blasting it to the rooftops. It was the first time I felt myself and like I belonged and like everything was going to be okay. The funny thing that I have about that was afterwards we were walking, and it's all the mess and the carnival and the beauty of it, and this young man came walking by, and my son was probably like 12 or something, 10, and he was wearing a fairy costume. And my son looked at me and he was like, "Mom, why is that guy dressed like that?" And I looked at, the gentleman, and I looked at my son, and I just said, "Because that's just how he feels the happiest today." And my son was just like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, it's that easy, right? So, yeah, thank you for asking. It was a really, special pride, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Well, I mean, I love attention, so it's great. Being a out feminine or femme lesbian, I want everyone to see me because I feel like getting to be out there and show the world that this also is a lesbian is awesome. Getting to perform and connect with people on any level, whether it's gay, family, anything, that's where I live. I just want to connect with people. It feels so good to look in an audience and see so many people that look like me or look like people in my community where they can feel safe, that I can make a space where they can come and celebrate themselves. They don't have to look over their shoulder. They can laugh about our stories, not like, oh, that's a similar situation. No, this is my situation. It feels like I'm on the top of the world. I love Minneapolis and I love what I do. Yeah, I want everyone to feel happy and loved and enough. If I can do anything in my life, that's all I want, truly. So in thinking on the history of Pride, the first time I really heard about Pride was actually when I came out, because I had been living in rural farming communities. There was no Pride. The closest thing to Pride was when I was in college. They would have an LGBT group come around every fall to classes and be like, "Hey, we're here, we're queer," and it really wasn't much of anything. So I can say the first Pride I had here was all I knew. And it has changed for me in the fact that now, the first Pride I was an outsider, and now Pride I feel so much like I'm in the mix. I'm part of the I'm not part of the celebration, but I'm part of encouraging people to celebrate. I can say also, in thinking about Pride corporate-wise, I started my job, I work for a property management company. We started 7 years ago. Pride or anything gay was not brought up at all. In the last 2 years, it's on our company stationery for Pride Month. We have a whole Pride Month of activities, and that has been amazing because I was really scared to come out in my company, and now I don't feel like that at all. So I think there have to be people who feel marginalized in the Pride celebration. I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because I love Pride. I love corporate sponsorship because we get money to throw the celebration. I think perhaps people of color, our transgender community haven't always felt like they are a part of this and they're as celebrated as much as perhaps cisgendered people or, the white, thin, athletic, gay culture, male culture. I hope that people are feeling more included, and it feels like we're talking a lot about everybody's stories now. And we're also talking about the fact that everyone's stories haven't been shared in the past, which is more important, I think, than anything, because, you know, a rising tide lifts all ships. We all need to feel just as amplified and just as strong. And I hope that this keeps changing and moving forward, so Pride can be a celebration for everyone. I think the most important thing for everyone to feel included is to make sure that we are acknowledging, first of all the different ways that we can be under this queer umbrella. As far as a showrunner and a producer, I personally try very hard to amplify stories by giving people a platform. I try very hard to cast a diverse cast as much as possible, because when we can share our stories, we can connect with people who may not understand us or may not even know about us. And when we're sharing our stories, that's when we can like find a connection, and that's when people can have more of an understanding. And then that's when we can like move even further in like equality for queer people. The intersection between like the queer world and BIPOC communities, you know, I don't want to overspeak because I'm not a person of color. From my take, I feel like perhaps they felt left out, or maybe they don't even want to be a part of the celebration because they felt so left out. And like we're not being mindful of everyone's experience. We all haven't had the same experience, even though we're all queer. I think the intersection of queer and BIPOC people is coming together. I love that we added that color in our flag to make it like more inclusive to everybody, and to also say, hey, these people are so special and have been marginalized for so long. Like, let's do this. Oh, there's so many amazing people doing great work. Denzel Belin, I think that's how I say his last name, B-E-L-I-N, works at the Brave New Workshop and Twin Cities Gay Chorus, Men's Chorus. So Denzel, Shannon Blowtorch, DJ around town, always super inclusive. Also is a part of Security, who I would also say Kimmy Hall is the founding member of Security. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's a security company that comes in to do like security at events and stuff, but they are focused on how to address and talk to queer people. So it's not like super aggressive, you know, necessarily. Some other amazing people in the queer community. Oh, Maggie Ferris is another comedian that's always like doing a lot of fantastic work. To me, pride means I am so excited about myself and what I'm doing, and like a community. Pride means I believe in myself. Pride means I love myself. And pride means like I'm not afraid to show you that I love myself. I guess I would just say I had an upbringing. I had an interesting upbringing. I'm from Minneapolis, but my parents divorced and I ended up in a rural farming community. And I grew up in a place where I never saw anyone that looked like me. And if being gay was an option, it certainly wasn't a positive one. And I know so many of those small rural areas still have so much of that. I'm so happy that I had that experience in a small town, because what I learned from it was community, and community is everything. I learned that if you want to get anything done, you just get a bunch of people together that believe in the same thing. You don't need a lot of money, you just need heart and you need time. And from learning that, not only have I been able to help other people in my community, but I've been able to build myself up just by asking for help, believing in myself, and just going out and doing it. I'm never gonna forget what it felt like to be that queer person in a small town where I felt like I could not be myself, where I had to wear a mask all the time, where I had to be sexually involved with people I didn't want to be because I didn't want to let anyone down. That I'm so loud about being a lesbian, not because I'm like, hey, I'm gay, but I know that when you see me, you don't see lesbian, mostly, right? I want people to know that there's so many different ways you can be. Don't judge a book by its cover. You know, I thought when I was thinking about being gay, going back to when people would come to college, unfortunately, at that time, the only lesbians I saw coming were very butch. Nothing wrong with butch lesbians. God bless them. I love them. I didn't want to cut my hair and start wearing men's clothes. And I'm like, do I have to do that to be gay? Like, truly, I'm not even being funny. I'm like, well, I think I'm gay, but like, that's not me. But I've never seen anyone that looks like me. So maybe I'm not gay, right? And I've met so many women that are in, and I'm not out to break up marriages or anything, but I've met so many femme women that are in straight marriages that have told me that they're gay, but they followed status quo and now they have kids and they've done this. And I think that is, I know how hard that is because I tried doing it for so long. And I know like how that affected my mental health. And I also just want to let people know, like always in my story, like you are in charge of your own destiny. Don't forget that you're the ship captain. You get to chart it. You get to turn it. If you're going towards a storm, you can go around the other way, you know, and you can make that happen because no one else is going to make that happen for you but you. And so the power that you hold to chart your own life and to make this one beautiful life your own is all within you. And I just hope that everyone can find that to get to experience this life, because I thank my stars so often that 13, 14 years ago, I had the strength and courage of conviction to come out and to live my life. And I have such an amazing, beautiful life. 15 years ago, I was dealing blackjack in a smoky casino in Wisconsin, thinking that all the plans I had in my life were over. Now look at me now.